Welcome back now for a story that impacts all of us. Monkeypox scare has reached the national capital as it reports its first case of the virus after a 34-year-old man with no history of foreign travel has tested positive. This is India's fourth case, with the remaining three all coming from Kerala. The central government has now conducted a high-level review meeting in view of the latest case. Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal, while taking stock of the situation, also came out asking people not to panic, assuring them that the situation is under control. But what really do we know about this latest case? He is a 34-year-old man who tested positive in Delhi. He is said to have attended a stag party in Manali recently. However, once he started showing symptoms, he was admitted to Maulana Azad Hospital in Delhi 3 days ago. Now he's been isolated at Lok Nayak Hospital. His samples were sent to NIV Pune that came out positive. His close contacts have been identified as well as quarantined, say the officials. This, remember, comes just a day after the World Health Organization had sounded the highest level of alarm for monkeypox, declaring it a public health emergency of international concern. Dr. Tedros had said that there were also a clear risk of further international spread, although the risk of interference with international traffic remained low for the moment.
प्रिवेंशन इज ऑलवेज बेटर देन क्योर। और इसमें सबसे महत्वपूर्ण जो है कि आप कोई भी संक्रमित व्यक्ति है, कोई भी सस्पेक्टेड है, तो आप उससे दूर रहें। एक ही कमरे में आप रूम शेयर ना करें। कपड़े, टॉवल्स, टॉयलेट और आपका जो चादरें हैं वो साझा ना करें। आप 2 गज का दूरी बना के रखें और सबसे महत्वपूर्ण है कि आप मास्क का प्रयोग करें। यदि आप मास्क लगाएंगे तो मंकी पॉक्स से आप बच सकते हैं। सबसे महत्वपूर्ण है मास्क लगाना। ये व्यक्ति हमारे पास 2 दिन पहले एडमिट हुआ था और भर्ती होने से पहले इसको फीवर था और टिपिकल स्किन के रैशेस थे। इसकी क्लिनिकल कंडीशन को देखते हुए, क्योंकि ये संभावित या सस्पेक्टेड मंकी पॉक्स का केसेस था, तो इसको हमने ऑब्जर्वेशन में रखा और इसका जो स्किन से जो टेस्ट है और इसके साथ साथ जो ब्लड का टेस्ट है वो हमने इसके सैंपल्स नेशनल इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ वायरोलॉजी पुणे में भेजे और उसका परिणाम आ जाया है जो कि पॉजिटिव है।
The outbreak has continued to grow and there are now more than 16,000 reported cases from 75 countries and territories. The information provided by countries, which in this case shows that this virus has spread rapidly to many countries that have not seen it before. WHO's assessment is that the risk of monkeypox is moderate globally and in all regions, except in the European region, where we assess the risk is high. There is also a clear risk of further international spread. The global monkeypox outbreak represents a public health emergency of international concern.
It is a public health emergency of international concern, but how worried should we be? To answer that question, I'm now joined on the broadcast by Dr. N.K. Mehra, who is former Dean of AIIMS and Honorary Emeritus Scientist of ICMR. Dr. Ashutosh Shukla is also with us. He's a medical advisor and Senior Director of Internal Medicine at Max Hospital. Dr. Vaishali Lokhande, who's a consultant of internal medicine at Fortis Hospital, also joins us. Dr. N.K. Mehra, my first question to you, and it is going to be specific to this particular patient who has been found to be positive in the national capital. Now, this person is the only one of the 4 cases in India who has no history of foreign travel. How significant is this?
Well, I would say that sure, it is spreading, and as you can see today, there are nearly 17,000 cases have been reported all over the world. What is more important, these cases are in 74 countries. And if you look at the US itself has about 2,600. And Europe itself is also very, very high. I don't think there is anything to worry at this point of time, but we have to be cautious. Everything seems to be under control. You see that the National Institute of Virology, when we were taken by surprise during the COVID infection, we had only one lab around the country actually who could test. And the NIV has come into force in a big way. In a matter of days, they have isolated the virus now. That's again a very significant achievement that we have got, because a time will come if there is a need, we can quickly make the vaccine. What is more important is that all the apparatus is in place. We know how to handle the sample and all. But we are trying to learn why, because earlier 3 had come to Kerala from actually the Middle East over there. Is it only the travelers? Because at the moment what we know is that the monkeypox virus spreads through close contact. Also in people who are sexually active, men against men, men having sex with men, or very close contact and all. It's not only, travel is not the only way that it can spread, and we have to be very cautious about it. But I would again say that there's nothing to worry at this point of time. Everything is under control. System is in place. What the government of India has done, and ICMR has really come forward in a big way. The virus has been sequenced. As I said, 179,000 base pairs of the virus have been sequenced. They have shared the reagents with about 15 labs, 15 laboratories. The staff has already been trained and the reagents have been shared. So, the things are in place. This is something that we didn't have during COVID time. So while I'm saying to be cautious and not be in contact with somebody who has had the infection or who shows the symptoms like this, but there is nothing to worry about.
Right. Dr. Vaishali Lokhande, when we have to be cautious, what does it mean? How do we identify somebody who has these symptoms? How long is the incubation period? When does a person get can infect other people as well?
Good evening, everyone. So basically, anybody who's exposed to a person who's infected with the virus is prone to getting it within the next 6 to 13 days. That's the incubation period. Symptoms may start within 2 weeks of time, and the illness may go on for at least 2 to 3 weeks. It may start off as fever to begin with. Day 3, they might have lymph node enlargement, the glands enlargement in the neck area and in the axilla, and then they start the rash, which usually looks like a very flat rash, and then eventually starts filling up with fluid, eventually getting crusting and then breaking. Now this rash phase is the most dangerous phase, which is when the lesions break out and the secretions pour out of the skin. That's the most infectious, contagious part of the illness. So anybody who's exposed to such a person with a potential rash should obviously get himself or herself tested. I feel sincerity, honesty here is important. Anybody who feels that he's got a fever and a doubtful rash should report to the local hospital immediately and definitely get himself or herself evaluated by the doctor.
Okay, so in this case, the person who's been tested positive in Delhi, the reports that have come out, they suggest that he fell sick on the 25th of June, but it's only on the 24th today that we know that he has tested positive. What is the simplest way of, let's say if I have that infection, for me to figure out that I need to go to a doctor, that it is not just a normal rash or a normal fever, like, because we've just come out of 2 waves of COVID, and what was dismissed as cold and cough eventually turned out to be something very serious. Dr. Ashutosh Shukla, if you could throw some light on this.
So first of all, one should be aware of the possible symptoms. In the sense, you should be aware of the fact that a person who's having fever, headache, body aches, along with lymph nodes or a rash and blister-like rash, which is a typical kind of a clinical scenario. So if a person is fitting into that diagnosis, one should become alert, and there's no place for complacency, and one should isolate that person in a separate room and report to the doctor and try and get yourself tested as early as soon as possible. Because compared to the other viral infections, there's a clear-cut differentiation, because here in monkeypox, on the day 2 or day 1, there is a blister or a blister-like rash which starts appearing, and it has an evolution which evolves along with the illness. And typically, unlike other fevers, here there are lymph nodes also. And in most cases, there is a history of contact, unlike this particular case where there's no history of travel. So one has to be alert to the possibility of a monkeypox illness.
Okay, Mr. N.K. Mehra, now that we know that these cases are amongst us, is there a way to be more precautious in the sense that, yes, there is avoiding contact with somebody who's showing similar symptoms, but in terms of medication, is there anything? We know that smallpox vaccine is said to be effective, but that is only a preemptive thing.
I think what we have to do is to learn a little bit more about the monkeypox virus. You know, the first human monkeypox virus was identified in 1970 in the Congo. And Africa, Central Africa and the Western Africa have been the areas where the monkeypox virus has been there. Now, how to avoid ourselves at the moment, we are again trying to learn, but you know, what we know at this point of time is if somebody is showing symptoms, you shouldn't be in close contact. Close contact would mean sharing of clothes, the bedding, the towels and things of that sort. So make sure that you do not do that. And be very aware of it. I think awareness is the main thing, and that is why the WHO has also declared it as the PHEIC. This is only the 7th time since 1970 that they have immediately gone ahead, and some people are even asking, did they do it in haste? I mean, there are only about 17,000 individuals known so far. Did they do it in haste? I'm not sure if they did do it in haste, because last month their expert group met and said, no, there's no need to do that. And this month they said, no, we should. Because last time during COVID time, they were a little late, as you remember, and they were criticized for that why did you not inform the people?
Right, they didn't want to be caught on the wrong foot. But Mr. Mehra, do stay on, because we now have a viewer also joining us, V. Chandrasekhar from Chennai. Sir, what is your concern?
Sir, I'm Chandrasekhar from Chennai. You see, I have got 2 quick points on this, spreading of this monkeypox. You see, last time in Corona also, we found that it is coming from people who have been traveling abroad and coming back. We have not done sufficient checkup on the travelers who are getting into India. So have they taken already, have they started taking it to avoid spreading from foreign countries? Number 2, every time we notice it is coming from only Kerala, originating from only Kerala, all these problems. So whether the government is doing any research on that, why it is only coming from Kerala, what is the problem there, where it is starting?
Right.
Why it is starting from there? These are the 2 points.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Chandrasekhar. But we're also getting breaking developments coming in, because the centre is concerned. There has been a top-level meeting of the DGHS, and the information coming out of that meeting, where Union Health Secretary as well as Director of NCDC were present, is that the states and union territories have been advised to keep a close surveillance. Delhi government has been advised to conduct contact tracing of monkeypox case. Sherin joins us for more. Over to you, Sherin. Right, we'll try and get more details coming out of that. But right now, we've completely run out of time. Thank you, gentlemen, and Ma'am Vishali Lokhande for joining us on the broadcast. We take a very quick break.